Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
We always have concerns, but with this president and these Republicans who have no commitment to the rule of law and doing things the appropriate way, we're ready. We have three purposes now. One is to win the midterms. Two is to make sure the elections are safe. And three, to tell people what we will do when we win. And that is the mission. There's so many things that you can do to protect the election, and they are being done, whether it's litigation or legislation or just mobilization, communication, all of that. But in addition to that, we have to be on guard as to what they may try to do to the technology. They may try to creep into the technology and create a false count.
How do you guard against that?
That's a challenge.
You know, it's you have Nancy Pelosi that goes on there and says we need to win the midterms. And we know that the Democrats and Republicans have always been about winning and winning and winning. And I put up this post, and I was pretty clear about it. By the way, I had to have my face burned, so I'm going to keep my glasses on today. Going out in the sun playing golf and takes its toll on you. So I had to get cleaned up a little bit. It never becomes about the people. I mean, the Democrats tell you that they want to win, they want to do all these things, and then they're, going to cut off little boys' body parts and continue this grooming. And I don't believe that any of these Democrats really believe what they're doing, but they create enough chaos. When you talk about things like that, you create massive amounts of chaos and panic. And I think that's what they're going for. They're going for that specifically. But now we have to talk about other stuff. Are we going to go to the front of this deal at all? Are we missing the part about the NBA? Okay, so we have some other things that I want to go over too. That shows you how there's only one way. There's only one way, and it's this perverted, radical leftist idea. And the more and more that I talk to my Democrat friends, the more they're feeling uncomfortable about what's happening in the media and what's happening in politics. There's a reason why they feel like this is the first, this is a year that we can capture Colorado specifically. And if President Trump doesn't do what he needs to do, and we don't get the SAVE Act put in place, and we don't do emergency orders related to election fraud, then we have no chance. But if you're able to do that, we will eliminate 40 to 50% of the fraud, and you will see a vast majority of this entire country turn red. There is a clear indication that they are afraid of this because they're already starting to do what Nancy Pelosi's doing. But the other thing that's happening is that we have all of these pathetic, rotted piece of trash judges. I mean, I'm talking some of the worst judges known to man. These are people that don't care about the American people and want to do everything they can to destroy everything that's good about our country. Well, Dominion, we have an update. So let's go to this update. I don't even know where to start when I start talking about this specifically. This is an order in the District of Columbia. Now I want to point something out. The plaintiff in this case shows Liberty Vote Holdings, Inc., does not show Dominion Voting Systems. And it's Liberty Vote Holding, Inc. et al. V. Patrick Byrne. Now, the deal was that Liberty Vote did not get to finish the acquisition without the lawsuits being resolved. But let me just go through this really quick. Before the court is the motion of plaintiff Liberty Vote Holdings, Inc., Liberty Vote USA, and Dominion Voting Systems Corporation, collectively Dominion, to set deadline for Stephanie Lambert and Patrick Byrne to submit affidavits and to enter document destruction protocol For the following reasons, the motion is granted. I want to tell you what this is. This is screw the people. This is free and fair elections go out the window. This is crime family after crime family after crime family that have betrayed the American people. That's what this is. On August 13, 2024, the court entered an order disqualifying attorney Stephanie Lambert as counsel for defendant Patrick Byrne in this matter. The court requires, among other things, that Lambert and Byrne provide a full accounting of the form of sworn affidavits detailing information related to the disclosure or release of documents or information protected by the protective order. A protective order, by the way, to stop the criminal activities of Dominion Voting Systems and Liberty Vote Holdings, which is now standing as a proxy for Dominion. Now, I want to be really clear. This is a proxy for Dominion. The handoff to No Inc. and to Lindecker is all a ruse. It's all a ruse. Instead of getting to a place where you have free and fair elections, no. We get to cover it up. Just like they did in the Jeffrey Epstein information that a judge forced Virginia Giuffre to get rid of, that proved that Epstein was trafficking women and children. The judge came in and said, you came about this information the wrong way. So now we're going to take that information away from you, Virginia, who later committed suicide. This is the rotted apparatus of the judiciary, right here on full display. On August 23rd, 2024, to allow Byrne the opportunity to pursue his objections in the disqualification order, the court stayed the deadline for Lambert and Byrne to submit their affidavits. Byrne subsequently filed an objection to the disqualification order, and the court stayed the deadline for Lambert and Byrne to submit their affidavits. Byrne subsequently filed an objection to the disqualification order. The district denied Byrne's motion to reverse the disqualification order. Byrne then filed a motion seeking relief from the district court's order upholding Lambert's disqualification. They removed the judge, or removed the lawyer. So anytime you have a smart lawyer that is basically knows the system, they remove them. This is the rotted, trashy judiciary. This is trash. The judiciary's trash. There's nothing about this that represents the will of the people. It's not the Justice Center, it's just us. Where you can walk in and do under the thing dealings with politicians and people like Liberty Vote and Dominion Voting Systems. Like we have all of the facts. We know they stole the election in all 50 states. This is not just one state. It's every state that they operate in, and it's the same system that's used with Smartmatic. You got the Smartmatic executives, by the way, that are indicted for bribery, and they still let the system actually stand, representing the interests of the people, because that's the way it should be. You have a proxy happening right now in our country. You have pseudo-government agencies that are operating for public good, and they are above any scrutiny. You could sue for defamation. The people that work for them can be Antifa devil worshipers, and they can use the system in a legalistic way in order to punish people, and these judges act as their henchmen, their enforcers. Tell me I'm wrong, because I'm not wrong. On November 1st, 2024, Dominion filed a motion requesting the court set a new deadline for Lambert and Byrne to comply with this qualification order. Dominion also requested the court enter Dominion's proposed document destruction protocol. Destroy all the information related to Dominion voting systems because it shows they committed a crime. Further ordered that the furtherance of this court's order to disqualify Lambert as counsel for Byrne. Dominion's motion for order setting a protocol for transfer of documents is granted in part. The court shall retain jurisdiction over Lambert for purpose of ensuring her compliance with this and other orders previously issued in the action, including the status quo order, the protective order, and the disqualification order. With respect to all Dominion-produced documents contained in the repositories of the e-discovery vendors, iDiscovery Solutions, and innovation-driven iDiscovery Solutions and innovative driven should continue to not allow any person to access such documents unless specifically authorized by this court. So again, they get to decide. They get to sit on the hill, and they get to treat the American people as they see us, slaves. You are a slave. You are a slave. You are a slave. It'd be interesting if somebody actually got access to all these documents that were in Lambert's possession, you know, like hacked it and then maybe turned it over to me. I'm not going to tell anybody that they would do that, but if you did that and you were able to hack this information and gather all that information and then put it out there publicly so that the public can see just how rotted this judge is and just how rotted Dominion is and how rotted liberty is. I mean, it's sitting with a sheriff. And the sheriff's like, I'm investigating a crime. And he keeps dropping little bits, but he should release all of it. A crime was committed, put the information out, and let the public decide. Because right now what we have is a runaway illegal group of people in our government that have committed treason, sedition, and allowed a proxy to steal the voice of the American people. Tell me I'm wrong. And this is why these people hate me. They hate me because, frankly, I don't give a crap about anything other than protecting the interests of the people. I'm going back and forth with a friend of mine who's a Democrat in D.C., and it's heating up, guys. The more conversations I have with Democrats, the more they're like, well, what? I don't even know what the Democrat Party stands for. And I'm like, I don't even know what the Republican Party stands for. Is it John Thune not passing the SAVE Act? 72% of black people specifically want the SAVE Act. John Thune's like, I don't think there's any election fraud. Well, of course you don't. You were elected. You probably weren't. Democrats, Republicans, independents, they all are tired of this kabuki theater that we see happening right now. And the courts have done nothing but act as the court jesters, betraying the people in full. Not even in part, but in full. It gets worse as you go on. It says before April 13th, produce all litigation documents for Dominion. All documents, communication, in any way discuss or reference Dominion litigation documents and their contents. All documents and communication in any way discussing or referencing Dominion in any manner. So now they want to know who she's talking to. So the court is saying you have to destroy this stuff. You can't share it with anyone. We've had a motion pending in front of the D.C. court to get access to this information because it has damning evidence related to a guy named Eric Coomer. Eric Coomer, the director of strategy and security for Dominion Voting Systems, the guy that said, don't worry about it, Trump's not going to win, I made effing sure of it, who sat on an Antifa call, who has a tattoo that's used by the Church of Satan on his arm, who wrote about raping his wife, peeing on her and making her bark like a dog, who put up posts about killing police officers, killing the president, and posted the Antifa manifesto a day after it came out. The guy that ran 50% of the vote of the American people, that went to Georgia and sat for a indictment hearing, a grand jury that saw President Trump indicted in the state of Georgia. And he committed perjury. The man that gave Serbia access to the source code out of Denver. The man that traveled back and forth, who left the country and is now living in a foreign country, whose lawyers are the defendants in the largest bribery and corruption case in the state of Colorado, David Beller. It doesn't get any deeper than this. And they want to punish me. And you got the judge in the Denver case that is doing some sort of ninja math. And the judge before that did do a sua sponte that overruled a 20-year judge and volunteered to give Coomer's lawyers another bite at the apple that started all this. And yet a jury in Colorado, in federal court, a blue jury, found that I was credible and truthful and non-defamatory. And yet the court in Colorado won't even rule on it. You have a court in D.C. that is actively circumventing the voice of the people and acting in a corrupt manner to hide the crimes that were committed by Dominion Voting Systems. and issues an order of such. They then say that in complying with 4, Lambert shall serve all electronic documents on Dominion via file transfer and therefore sequester also documents in the custody and control of iDiscovery Solutions and Innovative Driven, who will not allow anyone, including Lambert or Byrne, or anyone associated with them, such access such documents unless specifically authorized by this court. Serve all physical documents on Dominion to third-party carriers to be designated by Dominion. So now Dominion, as a third-party pseudo-government agency that is operating on behalf of the greater good of the people, now gets to operate outside of the absolute authority of the American people to have transparency in their election systems. They're being allowed by the judge to lie, cheat, and steal and take what was never theirs. Tell me how you see it any differently, but they won't address it. They'll just say, oh, she shouldn't have shared it with a law enforcement agency to get to the bottom of the crimes. And that same person comes to the same conclusion. They committed crimes. It gets worse. We'll place it on all the socials. Please, place it on all the socials if you would, please. And just like they did in Denver, at the bottom of this, the court holds Dominion's request for costs and the appointment of a special master in abeyance. Now, in Denver, they wanted a special master because they wanted to be able to say, I'm not the judge, I'm not doing it. In Denver, it's a piece of shit woman, a radical leftist piece of trash who have circumvented the law and basically stepped all over it to the betterment of Eric. I mean, you might as well just say that you have a court system that's just sitting on the side of Eric Coomer and letting him commit crimes against the American people. That's in essence what they're doing. It won't stand. The American people, the more people I talk about, the more people they've had enough of these people. They've had enough of them. They've had enough of the Somalis taking our money up in Minnesota, enough of the fact that people get stepped over as Americans. Black and brown people in the state of Colorado get stepped over so they can hand money to illegals, and then telling us that they're going to have their No Kings rally with a bunch of people that don't even speak English. They had it all over the country. They had tens of thousands of people, they said. There's 300 million plus people in this country. You think tens of thousands are going to speak for the 99.9%? They don't. But see, they hold this thing called bots, and they hold all of this stuff and say, oh, we're the majority. You're not even a small minority. You're trash. And this is what the radical left represents. This is why we can't have any sort of nice things in our country, where the tax bill is 56 cents on every dollar, where the average family is suffering beyond all recognition, while people in this replacement theology are eating off of us. But they walk around saying homophobe and Islamophobe and anti-Semite, all these dog whistles. And the people in this country are 100% rejecting it and saying, piss off. That's what I hear every day. And I got a credit card in my wallet, just so you know. And everywhere I go, I put this credit card out there. Here you go. See it? For those of you who want to see it? I drop this credit card every time I go anywhere. I put it down. I don't care if I'm in the bluest part of the state or if I'm in the reddest part of the state. Every single time I do something, I drop this credit card down and I stare the person that takes it in the eyes. And I just look at him and I wait for him to say something. I wait. And about 90% of the time, I get I love your card. 90% of the time. And about 5% of the time, I get this disgusting look on their face right before it, and I'm like, no tip. I'm not afraid to leave nobody no tip. You want to stand against the interest of the people? The other 5% of the time, you get a little smile or a chuckle. And I look at them and go, there you go. I make every one of my actions intentional. so that I can have a conversation with people in my community. And instead, in our country, we have people that were violating the very essence of what we are to be Americans. And we sit back and we allow it to happen. We're gonna bring our guests in. I've been jaw jacking for the last 20 minutes, and he's been waiting. The judge in that case, by the way, is ready? You can't make this up. Go ahead and put it up, the last page real quick. The judge in this case, his name is Alphabet. Maxilla A. Abadagagabiyaya. You can't make this up. Now go look up amoxicillin and tell me where amoxicillin was born. Tell me what amoxicillin represents. We are being captured in our country by people that are not American. They're not American. These are not Americans. And don't tell me, oh, I got my citizenship, so I'm an American. No, you're not an American. An American doesn't abandon the rights of the people in the country and step over them while handing stuff to the evil people that are stealing everything that we represent. You're a betrayer. You're a traitor. You're a treasonous traitor. That's what you are. Our guest is Kevin Dolan. He's the founder of Exit. It's a growing fraternity, a mutual aid network for men who are opting out of the failing system and building parallel structures for the future. He's got a Substack and a podcast called Bennett's Phylactery. Okay. I guess I got to look that up, don't I? And he delivers sharp commentary on fertility culture, network states, and the collapse of legacy institutions. He's a leading voice in the nationalist movement and organized the natalist movement and the Natalism Conference, focusing on reversing the fertility crisis and rebuilding strong families and communities. So I'm just going to bring him in and say, Kevin, we never talked before, but welcome to the show.
Joe, how are you?
I'm good. You see me fired up. I'm fired up because I hate shitty people.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
So what exactly is Exit? Let's start. Well, I mean, you've been listening to me for the last 20 minutes. What do you think? You think that I'm a little bit, you think I'm the wrong guy?
No. I think it's, you're talking about what we call the manipulation of procedural outcomes, and the fact that you have these rights on paper, you expect to have particular freedoms as an American, and that those can be taken from you in pretty underhanded ways. And Exit was sort of founded in response to that. We're building basically a fraternity of like-minded guys who are preparing for what comes next after, these systems are not just becoming hostile to people like us, they're also becoming profoundly dysfunctional and falling apart. And so it's about building the parallel institutions that will survive this bottleneck that we're all passing through. And the natalism issue is a part of that, right? It's family formation is suffering very, very seriously. But yeah, so Exit is a response to the problem of both, these institutions becoming hostile, so you have to sort of have leverage against them. You have to have independent streams of income. You have to be in control of the way your kids are educated, all these things, to reduce the attack surface, to reduce the ways that people are able to target you. But you also have to build for what comes after all of this. You have to build functional, sustainable, strong institutions that include basically, the ways we earn a living, the ways that productivity happens in this country. And it's going to be, in our view, it's going to be personal, and it's going to be people who with names and faces who you trust and care about. That's who you're going to build with. So that's what we're trying to do with Exit.
All right. So how successful have you been? You started at what state? Where are you in right now? What state are you in?
Currently in Utah. We started in Virginia, and then we moved to Texas, and now we're in Utah. We've got 325 members all around the country. We have 12 monthly in-person meetups in 12 cities. We have 20 calls a week. We talk about real estate, entrepreneurship.
You said 20 calls a week?
Yes, sir.
Well, holy shit. That's a full-time job.
It is indeed. And we cover all these topics from entrepreneurship to estate planning, to fitness, to AI, all these things that can make us stronger and more resilient and sovereign.
Okay, so we started something in Colorado called the Brotherhood, and it's just a brotherhood. We're just brothers. We didn't want to put an organization behind it. We get together literally every week or 2 weeks. I think we have, 50, 60 people that are a part of it right now that are actively a part of it. It sounds similar to what you're doing, but we build it around that friendship, around joint ideas, and then how do we get into the market and do stuff to help people in our community? And we've hesitated growing for a couple reasons. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but we don't want to be infiltrated by shitty people, right?
Sure.
And we want to make sure that we build it towards where we can have, that there's diversity. So we have people that are felons in there. I have a guy that served 34 years for killing a pedophile. I've got lawyers and doctors and dentists and blue collar and white collar and farmers. I mean, it's an eclectic group of men that get along so well. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. It's once you've sort of selected for, I mean, the way that we select is basically everybody who joins the group has a phone call with me, and we talk about their background, we talk about their interests, what they're looking for. And yeah, like you say, that it's not one particular, it's not a credential, it's not an income level. You must be this tall to ride the ride. It's very much about initiative and dynamism, and a sense that the situation that we're in is not tolerable. That we're going to be judged for what we tolerate with respect, especially with respect to our kids. And there's a lot of things that you as an individual may be called to endure. But your kids don't have the option to opt out or to move or to, it's really on you as a provider and a protector to build an environment that's tolerable for your kids. And so that's what we're about. And we're about building what we call great houses. So multi-generational families that are actually the center of production rather than a center of consumption. So your identity, who you are, being very much attached to your family instead of the default model now, which is basically like, you and your kids, you both kind of live your real life at your job or at school, and then you kind of come home and veg out and watch Netflix, and your kids don't really get to see what's aspirational about you. They don't get to see what's extraordinary, what people depend upon you for, and they don't get to learn from you in that domain. So that's one of the things that's really important to us, is to build these sovereign families.
What's been the outcome? Say you have just under 400 people. What's been the outcome for those men? I mean, can you quantify it? Can you show? Like, I look at the men that we have that we engage with, and we've had some strong relationships. What's been the outcome for the men in your group?
Yeah, so it's there are things that are quantifiable. There are things that are not quantifiable, right? We've got guys who have built startups together that have, had 8-figure, 9-figure type exits. We've had huge success in terms of getting smart people together to build. We've also had, guys getting their wives together, and they go, oh, I thought I was coming to a meetup with all my husband's weird online friends, but these are actually normal people, and these are people I want to raise my kids around, and this is really cool. So there are things that are, monetary, that are easier to quantify. Those are not the things I consider the most important, but it is a piece of the puzzle in terms of building sovereignty, in terms of building leverage to push back. We want to create a situation where our guys can be economically interdependent on each other rather than dependent on these outside systems.
Okay. So what's one of the other things you guys concentrate on is fertility. What are you seeing? Because, obviously the fertility clinics are going through the roof. Yeah. We want to tie it back to things that people are putting in their bodies. It's hard not to say that it's not caused by, these vaccines and things that are put in people's body. I don't want to have that fight with you right now, but something is changing and something is wrong.
Sure.
Fundamentally.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to talk about through what the math looks like specifically for fertility, and what you can do about it?
Yeah. So direct medical fertility is about 10% of what's causing what there's a demographer called Stephen Shaw. He calls it unplanned childlessness, which is distinct from, medically, physically can't have a baby. And that's about 10% is medical infertility. The rest is either, it didn't happen, or I was focusing on my career, or didn't meet the right person, or all these things. And then there's a very small fraction, it's like 5 or 10%, who are like, I never wanted kids and I didn't have kids. It is actually the case that the majority of people want to have a family, at least under, the conditions that they would, favor for that. So what we're trying to do is connect families and people who care about this, because really it's about family formation. That's the bottleneck. That's what's causing the problem with the fertility crisis. It's not so much that people who are married are not able to have kids. It's mostly people not finding each other. And where I would draw the connection with the public health issue is not so much directly like infertility. It would be obesity, and it would be a lack of energy and fatigue, and the fact that people are sick and less energy and less will to get out there, and less interest in the opposite sex. Like it's kind of this panda bear phenomenon, but it definitely has ramifications for our endocrine health, and just the will to get out of bed in the morning. It's a huge piece of it, especially for young people. Like, you look at sort of the health statistics for young people, and it's pretty eye-opening. So yeah, that's definitely a piece of the puzzle.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about Israel for a little bit. We should have like a code word, because that always blocks me when I talk about it. I could talk about it well, not well, it doesn't matter. I can criticize one person, and all of a sudden they're like, anti-Semitic. I'm not being that at all. But you pointed out some things related to Israel, specifically that they optimize for fertility, right? Mm-hmm. But they still have the same problem.
Yeah, they have an interesting problem, which is that, across the board, Israelis have higher TFR. They have replacement TFR. They don't have the problem of you're going to have economic collapse because you're not going to be able to sustain economic growth. That's the global problem. What the Israelis have basically is just the fact that all of their enemies are having kids at a much faster rate than they are. And so that is partly a problem in the Middle East. It's also a pretty huge problem in the United States, in the UK, and Europe, where a lot of, foreign policy situations that ramify to what's going on in the Middle East, they depend on having the political support of the US and the UK and Europe. And if there's just way more Muslims than there are Jews in the US and UK and Europe, then that support is going to evaporate, as we've seen. And so that's a huge piece of how fertility has political implications, because if you just don't have as many people sort of on your side, especially in democratic countries, it's demography is destiny, as they say.
No question. Whew. So how are you growing now? You said you're in 4 states.
Sorry, no, we're all over the country. We have 325 guys. We have 12 monthly meetups in 12 cities, and
but you did say you started in Virginia and then you went.
Oh, okay, yeah. Just in terms of where I was based, but it's nationwide and in fact global.
So
we have
you moved from Virginia to where?
To Texas and then to Utah.
So who in the right mind would move from Texas to Utah? Help me.
Well, so I mean, I'm a Latter-day Saint for starters, so it's an easy fit in terms of culture.
Okay.
And the biggest thing was I saw that the families in my group, the big families where my family could integrate,
it actually depends on where you live to be LDS.
Yeah. Like
Utah is it's not a guaranteed.
No. But basically I was doing the math on my guys, my actual, the members of the group. And it was where are the families? Where's the critical mass where we can start to get families together? And we actually just had a huge meetup with 15 families and tons of kids. And it was a great time.
But
So
Mormons don't have a problem getting together. I mean, they've got a whole melting pot at BYU.
that's true. That's true. A lot of these, it's another example of a system that used to work really well and doesn't work so well anymore.
Really? Still?
And
now
so
it
it's
doesn't?
building. Yeah, I mean, they are drawing their pool of professors from the same academic swamp that everyone else is pulling from, and there's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of challenges at BYU, and so I would still say it's better than almost any other private university in terms of like teaching things, but like there's challenges. But in terms of getting, it's also in terms of getting
Who's better, by the way, Utah State or BYU?
Oh, BYU, no question.
Now you got two campuses. You got one in Idaho, and you got one in. You got one in Hawaii too. I guess you could say that too. So you got one in Hawaii, one in Utah, and one in yeah.
But in terms of getting values-aligned people together, getting like-minded people together, so there's a lot of people who are in the abstract like-minded in Utah in terms of, they're conservative, they want to be Republican. If you were to raise some of these issues with them, they would sort of have the same response that you would have. But in terms of understanding what time it is, in terms of understanding the danger that we face and the volatility, I compare Utah kind of to the Shire, from Lord of the Rings. It's like this very peaceful place where people have kind of small problems, or at least they feel they have small problems. And it's like the task of waking those people up and helping them to see what's coming and being like, are we gonna walk the same path that California or that Minnesota walked, with our eyes wide open? Like that's a crazy thing to do. So we're that's the task in Utah really is to wake people up.
Well, I mean, I think the waking people up means you have to step away from the antithetical cultural shift, which has happened in almost every community, and it doesn't matter if you're talking about the LDS Church or the Catholic Church or Baptists or all the way down line. There's a movement to divide and they do it through the education system largely. So you have this education system that comes in and says, if you want to be a pink dinosaur, you can be a pink dinosaur. And you have all of these outside influences that are allowed to put their fangs into the identity of a child. And when you start, it used to be, it happened at the college level. And so the stupid would become more stupid and they'd go be a Democrat. Now you have this thing that's happened where they get it at such a young age that people are waking up to the idea of, I want to be a cat and have a litter box in the classroom. I want to cut my wiener off. I want to play women's sports because I don't think I'm a man anymore. I mean, we've debated so much of the ridiculous because at a young age we have ingrained into them the idea of faithlessness that the church wasn't able to keep up with it, and it was almost complicit in it because it could see it happening but thought there's no way in the world any of these people would grab onto this. And then when more people grabbed onto it because of the idea that you have this, it's like Stockholm syndrome, right? In essence, you can beat a child so much and all of a sudden they believe that that's the way it's supposed to be, right? Now they believe that, you can grow horns on a potato. I mean, it's the craziest thing in the world, but we weren't prepared for it and we did not stand up strong. We let people in pastoral positions in the Mormon Church, in the Catholic Church, stand up and say, oh, it's okay, just turn the other cheek. We're just going to be the good people over here and let them be lost. Do you think it cost us?
Yeah, I mean, it's very much about like you have to take responsibility for your domain. You have to take responsibility for your stewardship. These are things that we have gotten used to outsourcing, not just to the schools, but to churches, to civic institutions. We're used to things working a certain way and expecting them. I think a lot of like my parents' generation believe that they could just sort of drop you off at the institution of the school and then college, and then you'd get a job, and it was these rails were very functional. And they would deliver you to, comfortable middle class, whatever. And I think that was always kind of not a great deal, but particularly now it's becoming just totally untenable with the things kids are being taught. And so it's about how do you build alternatives to that. So we're getting together a homeschool co-op down here and bringing together people to discuss some of the ways that, like, AI changes things, work from home changes things. Like, there's not all of the movement technologically is necessarily a bad thing. There are ways that power is being put in the hands of parents. I think one of the huge sort of silver linings from the COVID era, I mean, it was a terrible time, but parents got to see what their kids were actually being told in class, because they were like standing in the kitchen listening to this, ridiculous Zoom call. And there was a huge revolt in terms of people withdrawing and going into homeschool and going into to alternative education. And I think that's ongoing, and it's going to continue. So yeah, there's. Go ahead.
So I agree with you fully, but Kevin, I'm not a soft guy. I mean, if you come for my child, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to need a dentist and probably a straw to drink through for the rest of your life, right? And I say this to you because I don't want to hurt anyone. Like, I'm capable of great violence, but I don't want to be violent. And I think there's a lot of men out there like me. I grew up in D.C., Washington, D.C. You're from Virginia, right? Which part of Virginia, by the way?
I was living in Culpeper.
Okay, so that's a different part of Virginia.
Yeah, it's beautiful out there. I love it.
Yeah, it is beautiful out there. But I say the things that I just said. It makes people uncomfortable because I'm willing to stand up for my child. I'm willing to get down and smell the dirt, and I'm willing to make great sacrifices for even children that aren't mine. And more often than not, I see this grow towards the idea that we're going to have to, that evil never went back into its hole without force. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Right? So we have to build density, but we also have to build some ROEs, rules of engagement, that say, hey, look, we're not going to go to violence, but you're not taking our children.
Totally.
And right now we're standing on the side of, we're not going to go to violence. Please don't take our children. Right? We're debating and we're negotiating with evil right now to say how much of the flesh of our children we're willing to let them take. Right? Yeah. But we get caught up on the vernacular. Like, Joe, you can't cuss, but, I'm not going to become enraged by the fact that they're cutting off wieners. And I'm half saying that to be funny, but Kevin, we've got to get to the place where we start standing strong, where they're afraid of the density that we create. Am I wrong?
No, totally. So I think what you're doing in the political domain is really important there. And not because I'm saying like, oh, let's work within the system, let's play by the rules. But the political system is the domain in which force can be exercised in a way that people respect, and a way that doesn't. So I don't want to get too like theoretical, but like this whole system depends on people respecting the legitimacy of the system, and believing that believing in elections, believing in the judges, believing in the justice system and the police and all these things. And the only way that you're going to, like, if you were to go straight to force, straight to like unauthorized, personal force, that further legitimates, that further strengthens this apparatus of control. But if you can exercise legitimate force through the state, through the domain of politics, especially local politics, then you create a dilemma for these people, which is they can't actually stop you without giving the lie to what they're doing and giving the lie to the illegitimacy of the way that they've operated the system. So, we're definitely involved in our local politics. We encourage other people to be involved. And it's about, it's not about, the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. It's about people who care about this stuff acquiring positions of power from which they can stand. And, which they have legitimate authority to defend, obviously their families, but also defend, their constitutional rights and the rights of their communities. Like that's what I think you have to build to get around this. Because I can see what you're saying. Like the gulf between talk and action seems so unbridgeable right now, and that's basically what Exit exists to bridge is to say, all right, well we need political and economic and social power. We need to build together these institutions that will give us the power to cross that bridge from talk to action.
Yeah, so I constantly have to do what I just did. Take a deep breath, because you can see very clearly the evil that we face. And it's a lot, right? And I have children. Your children are probably young.
They are.
How old are your kids?
My oldest is 11. We have 7.
Okay. Your oldest is 11, you have 7. You and your wife are very busy.
Yes, indeed.
I have 2. They're grown. Praise the Lord. And your education bill is going to be a little more expensive than mine was.
Yeah.
But as you start looking at your children, I know from my perspective, I would look through the lens of opportunity from where I was when I was younger. And I grew up super poor. And so my lens for my children was always experience. I wanted them to experience lots of different things so that they could be well-rounded by the time they get through school, which will lead to a larger degree of humility, caring. There's just things that I knew that they would become if I exposed them to more things. You know, I'd have them hang out with the homeless people, do a bunch of stuff to so they could be grateful for their position where they are. As you look at your children now, yours is much more difficult than mine. Mine was at the tail end. They're 29 and 25, tail end of that. You're in the thick of it. One left turn where you're not paying attention, you're over here cutting wood or doing whatever, and your 11-year-old could end up, you know, even in Utah, in the midst of a place where you have lost that child.
Yeah.
Right?
There's no safe geography. There's no like hidden sanctum where all this stuff doesn't happen. It's everywhere. Everybody's on the same phones, watching the same porn. Like it's everywhere. I would say though, I do think that we should. I don't think we should view it as something that's brittle. I think we should view it as something that, you know, if you are present and building with your kids and you're aspirational to your kids and you're actually presenting something that is competitive with this world that we have around us, which frankly, I mean, I think that job was actually harder 20 years ago than it is now. Just because, you know, when I was, you know, a young teenager, you know, the Hollywood made good movies and like the jokes were funny and the music was good and all of the sort of culture that your parents might be trying to sort of protect you from still kind of did the job of appealing to people. And I don't think that's the case anymore. Like I think we don't have that hard of a time to say like, hey, actually you can look at these people, they're like really unhappy and they're not particularly interesting. They're not like, you know, tortured artists, like they're just miserable. And so, you know, the challenge that I see with my kids is less, you know, how do I protect them from this seductive culture? And it's more, how do I connect them with functional people? Because that's what I think is in short supply, is people are so damaged and so unhappy and so cynical that it's very, very hard to imagine, you know, my sons and daughters finding, you know, really, really healthy people to build a family with, just in their daily walk. So it's like we got to be a little more deliberate about that. We have to, and again, it's about making the family like a locus of social and economic identity, building something with other families, so that my kids are being raised around people that I would like to see my kids build relationships with. So yeah, I mean, I think it's harder in some ways, but I see a lot of hope. I see a lot of possibility in the future that we're going through, just because so much is up in the air and so many crowns are in the gutter and so many things are being abdicated that we have an opportunity to pick up, and we can be actually a compelling alternative in a way that was a lot harder 20 years ago.
Yeah, I think that there's more people flocking to that, but a vast majority of the population doesn't know how to put one foot in front of the other, right? They're very systemically driven by cattle guards, right? And I think that in order to get to a place where you have a better opportunity for your children, you got to be willing to identify the fact that we are surrounded by we're in a sea of locusts, right? And in a age of famine, like we are in a famine right now. We're in this desert just trying to figure out where the good food is. Good food meaning, how do you connect to your tribe, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And with this replacement theology we have in our country, where we replace God with sex, and I mean, no matter where you go, look, it's right there in front of you, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it is the craziest thing in the world to think that our society can function this way and not literally go towards utter disaster.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I see it as a bottleneck. I see it as kind of the parable of the unjust steward,
Yeah.
where he's about to get fired from his job, and so he's telling all of his master's creditors, you owe 10, market 5, whatever. I see this as all of the ways that we earn a living, the ways that our social structures, all these things are going to be relitigated. They're going to be up for debate, and they're going to a lot of volatility, a lot of things in the air. And our job, in my view, is to build so that the things that we're building will actually matter on the other side of all of this, and so that you're not climbing a ladder that's gonna be not important in 10 years. I think that's the case with fiat money. I think it's the case with a lot of tech investing, a lot of tech jobs, a lot of kind of white collar work. I think productive capital matters a lot and is going to matter a lot. I think connections, who you know, and who you can rely on. I think that's going to matter way more than it does right now, because everybody's dependent on, you talked about all these judges and courts and the perversion of those systems. As they become increasingly illegitimate and sort of people stop caring what they say, it's going to matter a lot being able to do business with people that you know and trust. And so it's going to become more human. It's going to become more personal.
I agree with you fully. Well, are you planning on growing Exit to around the country?
Absolutely. Yeah. Exitgroup.us. You can come and check us out. And we do like I say, a vetted interview with everybody that comes in. So we're looking for aligned guys, but we're definitely looking for more aligned guys. And it is explicitly fraternal. And because we're about building families with the Father at the head. And so you can check us out at exitgroup.us.
All right. Well, I look forward to having more conversations with you about that, and probably
Awesome.
talking to you offline about what we're doing in Colorado. I think we have to build synergies. There's a couple other brotherhood groups that I got involved with, and it became too much like going to bingo hall night, and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Right. So it's,
Yeah.
Hey, but I have a joke for you.
All right.
Why do you, if you go fishing, do you bring two Mormons, not one?
So the other one doesn't drink all your beer. Yeah. I've heard that one.
So my wife was raised in Pocatello, Idaho, and my in-laws live in Driggs, Idaho, on the other side of the mountain from Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and they've been there for. Yeah, my wife and I have been together for 24 years, so been there a long time. And one of my best friends is Mormon. I'm Mormon, LDS now. You guys don't go by Mormon anymore. You guys totally screwed that up for everybody, by the way. So I have a lot of friends that are in the Mormon, a lot. I always tell them, they invite me to church, and I was like, man, it'll burn down if I come to the church. It's like, no, it won't, Joe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I crack jokes with them quite a bit, off and on.
Right on.
All right, brother. Hey, it was great to talk to you. I very much so appreciate it. And I look forward to talking again soon. And,
Absolutely.
I pray that you have an immense amount of success bringing men to a place where they can be fraternal and understand what that word means, which means loyalty to every end, and the green mile, right? What happens on the mile stays on the mile. And that's got to be something that men actually learn, because right now men are like, they don't even know what loose lips sink ships means, right? They're
Yeah.
like, blah, 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 blah. It's crazy.
Very true. Well, yeah, I definitely look forward to talking to you offline as well. I think there's a lot we could do together.
All right, sounds good. God bless you, brother.
Thank you very much. You
Take
too.
care.
Bye.
Awesome conversation. Awesome. I believe that men need to be fraternal. And it's not, ladies out there, whether you're listening, let me just tell you something. The only reason we have the opportunity to save our nation today is because of you, right? Because you put bubble gum and duct tape on it, and we're screaming and punching us on the back saying, get over here, things are burning down. And we're like, yeah, you know what, I'm tired. I want to go watch some football. It's a real thing. And then finally, when we lifted our head up and we saw it, we were like, oh, what have we done? So, but men now need to be men. And I'll be the first to tell you that there are some examples of what men are in our country. And I'm having a hard time right now. I'm having a hard time because the men that are men are told over and over and over again that we're supposed to stand up for what's right. And you see this sick ideology happening in our country. And the NBA, this is from the NBA, this is this should bring out the anger in every single person. The Chicago Bulls are waiving Jaden Ivey. And they're waiving him because he stood out at the NBA for promoting Pride Month and unrighteousness. He's a man of God. They waived him and got rid of him for speaking up for morality. Go ahead and play it.
That the world can proclaim LGBTQ. Right? They proclaim Pride Month and the NBA. They proclaim it. They show it to the world. They say, come join us for Pride Month, to celebrate unrighteousness. They proclaim it. They proclaim it on the billboards. They proclaim it in the streets. Unrighteousness. So how is it that one can't speak righteousness? How is it one that how are they to say that you man, this man is crazy? I'm not the Jay I used to be, but the OJ is dead. I'm alive in Christ. No matter what the basketball setting is, I'm born again, the Holy Spirit. I've been saved by Jesus Christ. No matter what, how many DMPs I don't get to play, or no matter how many points I score, those things are a temporary thing.
They're a temporary thing. I'm going to get Jaden on the show. I want to just walk through with him what this is costing him. So because he proclaimed his faith in Christ, they cut him. He's celebrating God, and they called him out, and it cost him his job. And there's a war on men and women of faith, but men have let it happen. And sooner or later, I'm telling you right now, you can go back and you can look at any time in history that you suppress men. It becomes a very untenable situation for the weak people eventually. They get eaten. But you have woke agendas and woke corporations and virtue signaling. And you've got some, let me just show you the difference between the NBA, what they promote. Imagine the man that raped that 6-year-old little girl, and then they let him back on the street. Or the other one that murdered a man, and they said he wasn't competent to stand trial. He went through 2 years of rehabilitation and put him back on the street. So being pro-God gets you fired from the NBA. But let's take a look at what domestic violence and beating your wife and children, let's show you what that gets you. Let's go ahead and put it up. Arrested and criminally charged with multiple felony counts of domestic violence and child abuse after alleged assault on the mother of his children. 30-game suspension, remains with the team. Jaden Ivey, Christian, who spoke out against Pride Month, immediately cut from the team. The NBA has a massive problem, and it's not Jaden Ivey. So you got the piece of trash over there on the left, the piece of trash that beat his child's mother, and then you got Jaden, who stood up for righteousness. This reminds me of what's happening in Colorado. I stepped out of the governor's race. I've been a proponent of standing up and speaking out for the last 6 years. Now, prior to that, I would talk to people about things. I would talk to people about Jesus. I would talk to men that were incarcerated that got out. I wanted them to tear off that rearview mirror. I wanted to get rid of the scarlet letter. I wanted them to focus in on success that they could have in their life and having a beautiful family and just loving the Lord. That was my mission. That was my true north. 2020 comes along and I just see evil just magnified inside the community. I see what they're doing with COVID. They're killing off millions of Americans. We had the largest, by the way, kill off on the planet. And then you look at this and you go, I thought we were making progress. But now they're literally out there trying to silence and attack Christians. This is Mike Vrabel when he talked about one of his players. This is the head coach of the Patriots is talking about one of his players supporting Jaden. Let's go and play it.
Travion quoted some Bible verses supporting a Chicago Bulls player who got released for some comments that he made. And I just thought, how do you measure the line between conduct detrimental to the team, which is why the Bulls released the player in their view, and allowing a 23-year-old to, express his personal beliefs?
I think there is a fine line. I want to tell you, I love Travion. I love the person. He cares deeply about our team. He cares deeply about his faith. He cares deeply about his family, his wife, the people in our building. And so I want them to be able to express what they believe in their heart and in their mind, but also want to make sure that they're educated. And we want to be inclusive. Everything we want to do wants to provide an environment for people to, one, feel comfortable, but also to share their personal beliefs. And then also we represent the team and then we represent the organization.
The coach wants the player to be reminded of inclusivity when posting Bible verses. Where are we? Where are we when these radical leftists, that the only opinion you can have is a radical leftist opinion? We have no free and fair elections. Society is run by evil people, and we are slaves to that system. Players are being cut because of their voices, their faith. And a coach tells you that you have to be reminded of inclusivity when posting Bible verses. Well, I got a Bible verse for you. I want to go straight to Leviticus at this point. Everybody gets mad at me for just having this righteous anger, and they're like, "Oh, Joe." I had a woman yesterday say, "Joe's got a potty mouth," and I'm thinking to myself, "Screw you. Screw off, piss off." I've spent 6 years in the trenches, had people throw knives at me, bring guns to the party, have to defend my family. And you want to talk to me about the fact that I said shit? Now shit on you. And I don't actually care who watches my podcast or who listens to it. If you don't have the same rage towards people that denigrate our society on a daily basis, and you don't have the balls to stand up for it, and you're not the one that's been in the fight for the last 6 years, then you know what? Do what you want. Walk around putting scarlet letters on everyone. Go do that. But I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue to speak out for those people that can't speak out for themselves. And even if they could speak out for themselves, I have an obligation to be my brother's keeper. 1 John 3:16, it says, I gave up my son's life for you. You should be willing to give up your life for your brothers. Well, I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to lay it all down. And I'm not afraid of a coward, and I'm not afraid of the idea that you can hold me responsible for the fact that you don't like the way I talk. Don't like the way I talk. Hit the little button and turn it off. Just be done. If you don't like being held accountable, if you don't want to talk about the fact that this is fundamentally wrong, and it's not fundamentally wrong to punch back. It's not. It's wrong to not punch back. It's wrong to allow this to stand. And at least we have a little bit of, I don't even know what you'd call this. I think the Supreme Court justices, by the way, sit in a room and they're basically running it through a system and saying, what are the repercussions of us siding with the American people? The U.S. Supreme Court ruled that Colorado Democrats' ban on talk therapy for kids identifying as transgender is unconstitutional. Play it.
Against a Colorado law banning so-called conversion therapy for LGBTQ children. Shannon Bream watching this and getting the ruling now. What was decided? Good morning to you, Shannon.
Hey, Bill, good to see you. So a therapist out there in Colorado challenged this law when it was passed, saying, I need to be able to counsel clients for whatever services they're seeking. So the court looked at this, finally decided 8-1 in her favor, striking down that law in Colorado. I want to read you part of what they said. They said it's censoring speech based on viewpoint. Specific things. It says the First Amendment stands as a shield against any effort to enforce orthodoxy in thought or speech in this country. It goes on to say, even if you have good intentions in this law, if you suppress speech based on a particular viewpoint, it just can't stand up. I mean, 8-1. There was only one dissenter here. It was Justice Jackson. She has said that this ruling is potentially catastrophic. She says the majority finds at bottom that Colorado likely cannot legislate to protect the children of its state if by doing so it happens to keep state licensed healthcare providers from saying what they want to minors. She goes on to say it will ultimately risk grave harm to Americans' health and well-being. She says you should be able to regulate the speech of somebody who's providing care to minors. 8-1, majority of the court did not think so, Bill.
Okay.
Now, Jackson can't even tell you what a woman is. She's an evil little bitch. You can say whatever you want. We call evil what it is. You push that back into the hole it came from. And that dumpster fire of a retard that's in the Supreme Court has done two things. One, she's never seen anything that she didn't like to talk about. And number two, she's the most incoherent individual in the history of any court, let alone the Supreme Court. She's a flat out 100% see you next Tuesday retard. And says you should be able to regulate speech. Our country's broken. It's broken, and men and women all over this country are to the point where they can now recognize that they are being held hostage by evil, evil people. Doesn't get much better. Colorado has been overturned over and over and over and over and over again. So let's go through that. Reversals in Colorado decisions. Nelson v. Colorado. The U.S. Supreme Court reversed Colorado Supreme Court 7-1 on due process grounds regarding the state's Exoneration Act. Colorado could not keep conviction-related fees from exonerated defendants without a separate civil proceeding. They had to be reminded that you have someone that's exonerated and you wanted to charge them for it. They still said you had to pay the tax because the process is the punishment. That's what Colorado has become. And here in Trump versus Anderson, this is the craziest thing ever. 9-0 reversal of Colorado Supreme Court decision to disqualify Donald Trump from the 2024 ballot under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, Insurrection Clause. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled the states cannot enforce this against federal candidates in this manner. And now they cannot force a therapist on how they treat patients. We need more therapists out there that can have conversations with young people and get rid of this Stockholm syndrome. This is the craziest thing ever. And let's talk about elections. We talked before about the Dominion voting system stuff. Mainland China CCP factory employees and Taiwanese warehouse workers have provided written affidavits on how they and others have installed illegal corrupted components into U.S. voting machines for years. For years. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. And this was from 2020. Unbelievable. The part that matters comes from the factory 60 miles from Beijing, a CCCP factory 60 miles from Beijing. The parts that matter. We have people in the factories, defectors in the factories give us affidavits. We can prove the whole thing is completely compromised. That even of the stuff that comes out of Taiwan and Taiwanese upstream of the factory, there's a warehouse. And some parts come into the warehouse from Taiwan and some come in from China. Then in that warehouse, they're switch-a-rooed and the Chinese parts go to the Taiwanese factory. And we have that from the people in the factory. There's a foreign involvement in this machinery that is absolutely, and it means it cannot be used in our elections per Obama. Wow. And there's an email. The emails in the Dominion suit from, it has to come out. Now, whether Sheriff Darleaf or anyone else does it, it has to come out. Now on the Scrub Dominion website, they claim their systems were made in Taiwan, not CCP China. Darleaf was sent Dominion information. Lawsuit discovery documents immediately began alerting election officials about what they indicated. And they put up this letter. We'll send this all out to you so you can have it too. We already know the elections are fraudulent. We're sitting here debating the ridiculous while a piece of trash, John Thune, stands up there and betrays the people. We're going to talk about Nancy Pelosi. They're going to hack the machines. Let me just tell you something. If I was called by someone at ODNI and they said, Joe, can you put together a red team to go in and hack the elections? I 1,000%, if told that it was going to go against these radical leftists, 100%, I would do it. You want to know why? Because you can't play fair with people that don't play fair. You should destroy all of it. Why? Because it's not a real election. It's not real. And the fact that we have to negotiate out of this should tell you everything that you need to know. All right. Well, there's so much more I want to say. We'll get past all of this now, and it will just bring us right into the No Kings protest, right? That happened last weekend. It is unbelievable what we're actually dealing with. The attacks on Christianity are off the charts. Now, people don't say stuff like that to me. I mean, they certainly don't say it in my face. They don't say it. They say it to some of you. They don't say it to me. I want to play this. This is David Morales, says the mural for Irana Zarutska does not reflect our values. Play it.
Ultimately, we want to make sure that every community member that calls Providence home feels safe. And we can both agree that this mural behind us does not reflect Providence's values, nor does it reflect the creativity that we want to see in our city.
Creativity. She was stabbed to death. She's a murder victim. This is the offensive mural in question. It's now being removed. They're removing it. It's a mural about a woman that was murdered. It doesn't reflect our values. Whose values does it reflect? This piece of shit that's not an American? Everybody's like, Joe, you need to be nicer to this person. No, I don't. No, you don't. You don't get to decide when civility is used, and you don't get to use it to control the American people. And here's Iowa Senator Sarah Garriott. It says Christianity feels very threatening and is causing violence. Not yet, it's not. It could. Go ahead and play it.
We have seen some pretty uncomfortable ways that faith and political power have collided. Seeing the flag and the cross conflated. We have seen religious actors supporting specific political candidates, even when those candidates might not seem to match the values of that professed religious faith. There is this very strong allegiance to specific candidates, and that confuses us and makes us wonder what on earth is going on. And we have seen religion and political violence showing up more and more in our public spaces. It's something that is just very in our faces, and something that we're very concerned about, and something that feels very threatening right now at this time.
Beating your wife, girlfriend, it's okay. Stabbing a woman to death, it's okay. It doesn't reflect our values to give people who are murdered by insane, evil people a mural. That's not our creativity. We need to get rid of that. And here's a No Kings protester that got super angry when we started talking about the fact that Kamala Harris didn't receive a single vote. She got the nod. Let's play it.
Out of office. Yeah. Would you like J.D. Vance to be the president then?
No, I would not.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who would you like to be the president?
Kamala Harris right now, but she didn't win, but
Can I point out something that we say no kings and no authoritarianism, but Kamala Harris, no one voted for her.
Yes, they did. Half the country voted for her, so let's not go there.
No one was voted for her to be the nominee.
Yes, they did.
Isn't that what, authoritarian?
You're going down the wrong road right now with me. I wouldn't go any further.
What does that mean?
I'm not going to talk to you anymore. That's what it means.
I just think it's ironic that no one voted for her to be the nominee. They just selected her like a king gets selected, right?
But keep it to yourself, okay? Bye. Have a good day. See ya. Take care.
Eva, what's your other sign say?
No, you don't need to see it.
Okay.
None of your business.
All right.
This is the ridiculous we have to deal with. I mean, this is what normal looks like. Now what I'm wearing, Pray, Stand, Speak, Act. By the way, you can go over and get one of your own sweatshirts. I love these sweatshirts, by the way. They are my favorite sweatshirt. You have to get one of these sweatshirts. I now have 3 of them, all white and black, by the way. So it's not just white, it's white and black. The back part is pretty awesome too. Big letters, Pray, Stand, Speak, Act. But this guy's painted his face and wears a McDonald's hat. That's normal. That's the retarded that we have to deal with. And we got to maintain civility with that? Why? Why? There's a reason why when parents before had a belt and they beat your ass with it, you came out normal. And now you got this whole, and both my kids came out normal. But I'm going to tell you something. I had to put my hands on my children once each, son and my daughter, once each, once. My daughter was 5 years old, chased our son around with a butter knife. I picked her up and whap, once on her butt. And she lost the ability to have butter knives, or any knife for that matter, at restaurants or otherwise for years. She would pass it. She would get to the restaurant. She'd see the knife. She'd be like, whoop. She'd push it across the. She's my princess, man. She's 29 years old. My daughter is amazing. But there'd be many times that I'm like, Micah, no. We're not doing this. And I had all the time in the world to be their dad. I love being their dad. But there was the other times where I had to be their father. And my son was 13, and he did this thing where I told him to do something, and he rolled his eyes at me, right? Rolled his eyes, and it took me no time. I snatched that boy up, put him against the wall, and said, "I will rip you out of your skin." True story. And I told him to go, slid him down the wall. He's like, okay. He went back in his room. That's it. That's the extent of it. Now, my children have seen me defend the home. They've seen me stand up to people that did bad things to other people in our community. They've seen that I'm not afraid to fight. I don't prefer it. See, people that know how to fight don't seek it, but they don't let other people hurt other people. And both of my children know that about me. They know it about me. And I love my children, our children. But we don't even have that anymore. Oh, and I did this. My son was, my daughter will probably remind me of the time that it happened. I think our daughter was 9 or 10. I keep going back, and I don't remember when. We had a drug problem in my family, not me, my family, but my extended family. We had a problem with people that are in my family doing drugs. And I looked at my son and my daughter, and I was like, if you ever do drugs, you don't have to worry about it. I will tie you to the front bumper of a car, and I will drive you around in a snowstorm until you die. And all I remember is my son saying to my daughter as they're walking away, "Do you think Dad is serious?" And her daughter goes, "I don't know, but I don't want to find out." And the concept behind it was really simple. I'm not going to watch you die slowly. I'll just get it over with. And so as a result, my children didn't do things when they were growing up. And their friends didn't either, because they would tell their friends. They're like, "Look, let me just tell you about my dad." And they'd come over and say, "Mr. O, is it true that you said this to Matt and Micah?" I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "And friends aren't off limits either. I have plenty of rope." I'll tie you all up to the bumper. But it became this, not funny, but it became this thing where people knew I was serious about protecting my family and protecting them from getting into trouble that they didn't need to get into. And it worked. But I want you to see this. This is the leader of the largest teachers union that is at a No Kings protest. And this is how just evil. This is the evil that we're dealing with right now. This is the evil. Go ahead and play it.
Because the only way the government acts for the people, listens to the people, responds to the people, solves the people's problems, is if it is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. That's why standing up and showing up, being in solidarity like millions of us are doing today is so important. It is the only way we can get the government to act in our interests, act in our kids' interests, act in working people's interests. It's the only way we can tackle housing costs and health care costs and child care costs and save our damn retirements.
She's a retard. It just never gets better. The retards stand up on stage. By the way, if you believed any of that trash, you would not have to write it down and read it. You're just a retard. And you want to wonder why the education system the way it is? Yeah. They don't want to educate our children at all. They want to stuff things down their throat and propagate them with bullshit. And we sit back and watch it without talking about it. Here's a councilwoman from Minnesota. This is unbelievable. This is Queen Retard. Go ahead, play it.
The fight that I fight every day to be a black woman here in America is not anything that you could ever fathom. You don't understand where I stand because you've never sat where I've sat. Welcome to my reality.
You're a fucking retard. Sorry, pardon my language. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, how? You don't know what I've had to do to live as a black woman in America? You've never been to Kenya. You've never lived in Africa. And any country in Africa, pick one, as a black woman. You've obviously never, been anywhere other than your basement, I guess. You don't know what you have to go through. Look, people in this country have no idea, have zero idea what it looks like to live in another country where, frankly, here, you have no rights. You think you have rights. Well, people are trying to steal them from you. More people are trying to steal them from you. But if you think, we're not even at the precipice of bad right now. We're almost there, because it's going to get frosty. But if you look at what people in other countries have to go through, Bill Gates himself can go over there and inject an entire tribe, village, sterilize all of them, and you can't even tell, no one will even listen to you. I was there. You act like you have it so tough here in the United States. You don't. These are people that betray. This councilwoman betrays the very people she said she represents, because it's all about her. It's all about her. It's not about Americans, black, white, green. Everything is about dividing, and I'm special, and I'm a victim, and it's just crazy. This unrighteousness is everywhere. It's pervasive. And it's our job to call it out. It's our job to be on top of it. It's our job to call it what it is. Stolen elections, slavery, we're overtaxed, overworked, overburdened, and we have pieces of trash that don't work a day in their life, that stand on some stage and try to talk about what they know nothing about. They couldn't even live it. That's my thought. All right, we're done early today. I got a bunch of stuff I got to go do. Here's what I'll tell you. Share the stuff out for the Dominion stuff. Hopefully I get this stuff fixed. Whew, it's like a lot. It's out, good. Dominion stuff is out. We got all that stuff, good stuff out. Go over to, what is it? honorboundusa.com, get your sweatshirt. I want to see pictures of people in my sweatshirts. So I want you to go get a sweatshirt. And I want you to, we have black ones too, and blue ones, purple ones. I have a rainbow one, but it has all 7 flavors, colors, not 6. Just kidding. I don't think I have that. Do I have that, Damon? I don't have that, do I? Damon might buy one. He might buy the 7 flavors. It's called the Baskin Robbins 7 flavors or 45 flavors or whatever it is. Okay, you can go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and more. We are everywhere. You can go there. Yeah, red, pink, gray. All right, listen. Tell me this isn't the coolest sweatshirt ever. Tell me it isn't. What do you think of the sweatshirt? Hey, do me a favor. Have them order me. I have the white ones now. I think I want, what other colors do we have here? Somebody go buy me one. Audience members, I wear a XL or what is this? Is this XL? I think it's XL. Pretty sure it is. Order me one and send me a sweatshirt. I would take the gift. I love these sweatshirts. I would wear these sweatshirts every day. I went to the hockey game last night. By the way, the Avs won 9-2. It was amazing. They played the Calgary Flames. Every time that someone from Canada comes here, they want to play the national anthem for Canada, and I'm going, absolutely not. Oh, I don't know. That one's kind of. Every time I post a picture with a rainbow in it, I have to say no homo. Okay, Chris, there you go. Diesel looks like mental patients. I need to go to the top, don't I? There we go. All right. Hi, Joe. Tuning in from Tennessee. Tennessee. I love the white shirt. I have my red one on today. Well, send me a picture, daggone it. Hey, where can they send a picture? Where can they send a picture? What email? Check this out. You know what else you could do? Patrick@untamednation.com. But you can also go on the socials and show me a picture of you doing this with what's on the back of it, right? And say, I'm on Team Untamed Nation. I'm with Team Joe, right? And put it up and then tag me in it so that I can repost it. So if you tag me in it, I will repost it. I'll repost it for you as well. Oh, someone didn't like the fact that I said, go buy me a shirt. Why? You can gift me with stuff. I got to say thank you to Les. Les sent me a check. Les down in Colorado Springs. He sent me a check. I'm trying to find him a gun right now. He wanted a special gun. But he sent me a check for my campaign and a shirt, which I'm going to wear tomorrow. Thursday. I'm going to wear Thursday. He sent me a shirt that talks about standing tall, so I'm going to wear that as well. And for those of you that don't know, I had a cross made by Richard Cherry out of Ohio. He did move. I think he moved to Florida. His wife passed away. And I've got a 6-foot cross. And those coins that you see, the challenge coins that's on there, the cross that's on there it's a accurate depiction of the 6-foot cross that was commissioned by Richard Cherry in my outside my office. I walk by it every day. So you can also go there and grab those coins. We got the thing done with USCCA, just trying to figure out how we can handle that for you. It's really simple. It's like having insurance. You have insurance for a reason. We'll have that done too, so you could be an honorary member of DCF, have a membership there, and still get coverage. Susan says, take down all the George Floyd statues and murals. I agree with you. And they escaped the nursing home. Mental patients. Yes, they did, didn't they? It's crazy. So crazy. All right, let's pray it out. I need to pray for my friend Dave Bear. And, I was talking to Dave this morning. Dr. Dave Bear, he was an oral surgeon. One of my close friends. I was with him last night and his wife, Kim. And they're 2 of the 3 beautiful children that they have. Those of you that don't know, Dave's he's faced cancer since 2022. They had to cut open his chest, take out the cancer around his heart, and then they had to cut up his chest and do it all over again. And then it took one of his phrenic nerves. And when they did that, they was like, no, we got it all. And it came back with a vengeance, and it was all over their lungs, all over his lungs. And then from there, it spread across his entire body. He went down to Mexico and did some immunotherapies. We raised a bunch of money. I want to thank some of you for giving to that. And my problem is that I want to solve every problem. So it's very difficult for me to have conversations with Dave because I love him. I love his family. Without him, I wouldn't be here. And so I'm talking to Kim yesterday. He went and got his new scans, and they came back, and the nodes are now all over his body. They're in his spine. They're in his lungs. They're in his neck. They're it didn't work. We gave it a noble try. We spent a bunch of money on it, but it didn't work. And I was talking to him this morning, and I'm like, bro, I pray for you all the time. So I'm just going to ask for something for Dave. I'm going to ask for prayers that we overwhelm the Lord with prayers, that he can just supernaturally heal him. I just want to bring it to him and tell the Lord, I don't know what the secret is to unlocking it. It is really difficult for me to talk about this. But there's got to be a way. The cancers, the people that he talks to, and the number of cancers, and the differences in the cancers, and how they're just coming out of nowhere is unbelievable. Yes, he takes ivermectin from benzoyl. He's now on THC because he heard the THC with those actually works. He's been on the B12 and the D3 and all this stuff. And we're trying everything from, I mean, the doctors that he have now are saying, heck, I'd try lollipops and, eating plastic if I thought it would work. So he's trying everything. Methylene blue, you name it, he's trying it all. And the hardest part about this is that I have so much trouble dealing with it, and Dave has none. He's like, I just trust in the Lord. And I'm thinking to myself, okay. He's like, I know where I'm going. He has so much faith. I look at what we deal with as a country, and I'd say, but God. People say something to me all the time, like, how are you going to fix the color GOP? And I'm like, but God. And here's the plan, and we're going to roll it out, and blah, 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 do all this stuff. But God. God can fix a lot of things. So let's just ask him if he'll fix this for us. Shall we? And I have faith that he will. I do. All right. Father God, we are so grateful, and I know that I've been a little irreverent today, and I've used my curse words often, and I feel like I need to say I'm sorry. I don't know why I feel this drive towards injustice and solving it, and I'm under no illusions that I actually can solve it, but I just want to say thank you for allowing me to have the ability to speak truth and to talk about just how evil is working in our communities. It's so frustrating. We are thankful, Father, for the blessings in our lives, for the people in our lives, for the experiences that we have. We are so grateful. And we know that we feel like we ask you for everything. And I do. I ask you for so much. And I know I ask you for weird stuff too. Like I ask you that the Nuggets can win the championship, and that we can get rid of this Pride Month stuff and just weird stuff that I know that it's probably not like the number one on your list, but this one is like number one on our list. It's number one on my list. And that is, Father, I just ask that you heal Dave Bear. Please. Please heal him. I also, I know that it's not my place and everything happens in your time, but I'm just bugging you with it just to see if maybe you can move the Overton window over a little bit, and that Dave will become, an example of his immense amount of faith and loyalty. Father, I'm grateful for the friendship that I have with him, the time that I've been able to spend with him. And regardless, I will cherish that for the rest of my life. But I just ask that you heal him selfishly, that he would be healed. I thank you again, Father. We thank you. And we just ask you to give us the strength to stand in the gap and do the right thing. And I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Oh. All right. Y'all go do your thing. I'm taking off early. I'm going to go buy a gun. Another one. You guys should buy one too, dcfguns.com. We got some cool commercials coming out too, so we'll put some of those up over time. Thank you all for just being amazing. And hit the share button. You're the ones that are the ambassadors of truth. And yes, good old Rumble and everyone else is doing everything they can to suppress us. So I'll leave it to you guys to get it all done. All right, take care. Bye.
Rise up untamed in the heart of the fight where the wild ones roam. Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real. No more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle.